and visit Mike and the staff. Do it today. Welcome to hour number 2 of the Art Lewis Show here on WSGW. Nice to have you with us. Today we're going to talk about our furry friends and an event coming up related to their care. Because with us this morning is the Vice President of the Great Lakes Bay Animal Society, and she is Nicole Meyer. Nicole, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Art.
I think before we get into the race coming up and everything, give us a little overview of the Great Lakes Bay Animal Society, what it is and how long it's been around.
Yeah. So Great Lakes Bay Animal Society was founded in 2012, and we are a foster-based rescue, which means we don't have a building. We have a network of foster families across the Tri-City area that will foster animals, which is quite a special group. Yeah. They are involved completely in the animals' care and well-being, from taking them in to getting them getting them to the veterinarian, getting them their medicines, giving them socialization and love in their home, and then ultimately having to part with them when they get adopted into loving homes.
And I had asked you before we went on the air, how many of those fosters become permanent in the foster house where they become the forever home? It does happen, doesn't it?
It does happen, and I will say that those of us who have been fostering for a while, it gets easier, but certainly a lot of times the newer fosters, they are torn, extremely torn, and sometimes, yes, do end up keeping the animals. But, that's we call that a foster fail, but ultimately it's a win for everybody because the animal is in a loving home and the family is, really benefiting also.
So you have an animal that you want to foster. Mm-hmm. You find a foster home for that animal. Mm-hmm. And you also told me that almost all of your animals eventually end up in forever homes.
Yes.
Unless they're in some kind of, late stages of life, hospice care, something like that.
Right.
Once they're fostered into a home, how do they find the forever home if it's not that foster home?
When they're ready to be adopted, we put them on Pet Finder, which is a pretty big site that people search for.
Oh, no kidding.
Pet Finder, yep. All of the rescues use it. Also, we publish them on our social media. We also have a habitat at the Pet Supplies Plus here on State Street. Our animals can go in there and people can see them.
That's my pet store.
That's They are a very good partner to us with that habitat. Their staff is very caring. And we have a network of volunteers that goes in twice a day to feed the animals and certainly make sure that they're, well taken care of while they're there.
Do you know much about the background of the animal when you get it?
Sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't. I'd say more than often we do, but sometimes you just don't know what you're getting, but we're committed to seeing things through with their care, even if it is ends up being a high needs animal. We will see it through with the animal to make sure that they get all the care they need.
Well, what constitutes a high needs animal?
I personally fostered a cat a couple of years ago that when we got it in, we didn't know it was FIV positive, ended up being FIV positive, that ended up having to have a full mouth extraction because there was such an infection in the animal's mouth. After that,
how do they eat then? It's soft. That has to be non-chewable food, right?
They actually learn to eat dry food. They kind of numb it. No. They do eat some. I know, it's amazing. They're amazing.
Yeah, they are. No doubt.
But, that's an animal that, one animal that costs us thousands and thousands of dollars. But I tell you, this cat really rebounded and ended up in a wonderful home. And so that investment was worth it.
Which brings us to that point. How are you funded?
Yeah. Well, we are a 501c3, so every bit of money that we have coming in is via donations and fundraising. So our biggest fundraiser of the year is coming up this Saturday, our Fast and Furious 5K run walk, and also a silent auction component associated with it.
Where is this held?
It is at Midland City Forest, a wonderful park if you've never been, has miles and miles of trails, and we only use a very small portion of it for our 5K, but it's really a wonderful park in Midland.
Is pre-registration required?
You can do same-day registration, but we encourage registration in advance. There is a T-shirt that comes with your registration fee, and we might run out of your size before if you do it the day of. So that's probably the one risk that you take.
What does it cost to register to run?
Currently, it's $40 per person. That does include the T-shirt and a goodie bag that has some promotional items, some coupons from our sponsors. If folks are interested, it looks like it's going to be a nice Saturday, which is always
good thing.
Helps us. Yes. We'll have the event rain or shine, but certainly when it's nice weather, that usually gets people out and about. And I do want to say, too, that even if people aren't runners, don't let that discourage you. There will be a lot of walkers there. And there will be a lot of folks that maybe even don't even do the whole thing. You know, there's a point where you can turn around kind of halfway. Yeah. If you don't want to do the whole 5K, don't let that stop you.
And what time does it all get underway?
There's early registration and packet pickup on Friday, the day before, at 5 o'clock, 5 to 7. So if people live in the area, they can come and pick up their packet, which includes their race bib and their T-shirt and so forth. The day of the registration starts at 8 o'clock, and then the first race, which is the runners without dogs, starts at 9. And
you can run with the dog.
You can run with the dogs. The race with the dogs starts at 9:15, and that's what makes it such a cool event. Is that there are so many dogs there. Right now, actually, over half of our registrants are registrants with dogs. So it's going to be a really, really exciting event, and I encourage people to just come out and be a part of it.
And you mentioned silent auction. Where is that held?
So the silent auction is actually going on now. It's virtual.
Online.
It's a virtual component, yep. Last year, we brought back the silent auction, and we had about 20 items. This year, we have close to 100. And let me tell you, there's something for everybody in this silent auction. From gift cards and gift certificates, zoo passes. We even have a signed baseball from one of the Detroit Tiger pitchers. You have to go online to see who it is, a past pitcher. And all sorts of wonderful artwork from local artists who've generously donated. So we will have the items on site.
And don't,
sorry.
Let's not, I want to take a break.
Yep.
So when we come back, we'll tell them how to find all this online and where you have the items on site and all of that.
Okay.
As we talk to Nicole Meyer, Vice President of the Great Lakes Bay Animal Society. Let me remind you that Dow Credit Union is where they understand life happens, but NSF fees don't have to. No surprises, just smart, transparent banking designed for you. Join Dow Credit Union and experience the difference at dowcreditunionor.org/join.
Attention, all Mega Millions players.
So you were talking about the silent auction, and you have like 100 items, and they're all online, right? So
they are.
Where do people go? What's the website?
They can go to glbas.org. It stands for Great Lakes Bay Animal Society.org. You can find all the information about the race and a link to the site for the silent auction. You have to register to bid on items, and what we'll do is when the silent auction ends at 10:30 on the race day, if you're the winner and you're at the race, you can take the prizes home with you.
Oh, you're going to have them all there?
We will. We will have them all at the race.
But there's no bidding at the race?
Well, it's bidding virtually. Yeah.
You
it's
still
all
have
through-
you have to go online to bid. There's
Correct.
no on-site bidding. That's what I was going to
Correct. They can view the items there at the race, but it will still be online bidding.
So, I mean, this is a 365-day-a-year venture.
Right.
No time off, is there?
Never. And this season is always the busiest.
So where do you get your dogs from? I mean, there's all kinds of shelters,
Yeah.
but you folks don't use the shelters. You use foster homes for your
Right.
animals. Where do you get them? Do people bring them to you? Do you take them out of shelters? What do you do with them?
We do sometimes take them out of shelters. Honestly, our first priority is for folks from the community who reach out to us for assistance via our website or via Facebook. They'll send us a Facebook message, and
When you say assistance,
Yeah.
in placing their dog somewhere?
let's say they had an elderly family member who went into an assisted living or passed away,
Yep.
and they're trying to place their
Yep.
their animals. Those situations really tug at our hearts, to try to help. Or I just had a cat have a litter of kittens underneath my porch, or yeah, that's happened multiple times. Or we have a kitty that's at the vet today as we speak, getting a leg amputated. This folks from the community found this cat limping, and they went into foster. They are fostering him, the ones who found him. And when we did the x-ray on him, it showed that his leg had been shot with a pellet gun and his leg wasn't savable. So, those folks that reach out to us for assistance, we really try to make those our top priority.
You mentioned cats a lot.
Yeah.
Are they primary to your mission, or is dogs and cats equal?
They're equal in our mission. We probably do more cats because we have more fosters for cats.
Really?
We do, but we definitely prioritize them equally.
Hello. So are cats easier to place?
I don't know if that's the case. Certainly, everybody wants the kittens.
Yeah, and you want the kittens, right? Yeah.
The kittens go very fast. The ones who are a little bit more shy and timid are typically the harder ones to place on the cat for cats. With dogs, it has to be the right fit there too, because either they get along with other dogs or they don't. Either they're good with children or they're not. So it depends on what folks are looking for in their own home. But really, it's the personality of the animal that's the most dependent.
And it seems in this day and age, we hear this very often, that pets have become part of the family. They
Yeah.
are a family member,
Absolutely.
and they're treated like such. And they cost you like such.
And they absolutely can.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. But there is a certain, I don't know what it is, but there's a certain satisfaction, I guess is the word I'd be looking for, to having a pet around your house, isn't there?
There absolutely is. Just the love and the unconditional love and the joy, I think, that it can bring to people's homes. I would say that, a lot of people that I can say from our fosters that start out fostering for us, they do it because they want to help the animals. But at the end, I think they end up getting the benefit of just really knowing that they helped an animal, they made a difference. Everybody benefits, right? The animal benefits, the folks who ultimately adopt them benefit, and the foster family benefits from just this feeling of that you did something really good, that you really made a difference in the community by helping this animal.
And the animals are saying, let's see how I can suck myself into this house forever.
Right, they want to stay. They definitely do. Yep, they will definitely want to stay in that foster home.
What are the qualifications to be a foster dog or cat owner?
Well, I'm really glad you asked because with the exception of funding, which of course is every nonprofit's biggest priority, our second most limiting factor is the number of fosters that we have willing to take animals. We have to say no more than we'd like to sometimes just because we don't have an available foster. So if folks have ever considered fostering, we encourage you to fill out a foster application form on our website. And really, it just, initially you have to have a place to keep the animal separate from your other animals if you have other animals in the home. Be that, a separate bedroom or perhaps a room in your basement. But really, you just have to have the desire to want to foster, have the ability to take them, obviously, to some vet appointments.
So that brings up the obvious question: who's paying for all this?
The rescue pays for.
Do you really?
We do, yeah.
All the vet care.
All the vet care.
What about food?
The food, if the folks need help with food, they can certainly come to us for assistance. We do get donations of food too, and we have Amazon and Chewy lists that folks can support us. So we get sometimes a regular shipment of donated goods that we can distribute.
Well, that's as long as you have it, that's the key.
Right. Yeah, I would say the food is the least of our worries from an expense standpoint. The veterinary care is our number one expense.
Are we finding more and more strays these days?
Yes, and
that's sad.
COVID made it worse.
Everybody wanted one in the house at COVID.
Right.
COVID ended, and that was the end of that, huh?
Yeah. I think, too, then all of the spay neuter there for a while got shut down or spread out. COVID really, you think, oh, gosh, we're so many years out of the pandemic, but it builds on itself, right? So that those year and a half, 2 years in there where the spay neuter was not being done as much, we've seen the ripple effects of that in the years past.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a break, come back. We're talking to Nicole Meyer, and we'll remind you about the race this weekend, too, the Fast and Furriest race. All of that is ahead.
What's the most important part of a
Nicole Meyer, Vice President of the Great Lakes Bay Animal Society. They have their Fast and Furriest 5K run coming up this Saturday. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the adopters or the foster, let's say the foster parents. What's the responsibility of that individual who takes in one of these animals?
For foster, a number of responsibilities. So they, when they get the animal, we give them, supplies, be it, flea treatment, dewormer, other supplies that we have on hand. We go through it with that. So they have to be committed to giving these animals, medications, taking them to their veterinary appointments to get vaccines, to get spayed and neutered. If they have other needs, a lot of typical things like upper respiratory infections, eye infections, if they test, if they need any lab work, stool samples taken to the vet, things like that, they have to be willing to take them to the vet appointments or at least work with us to coordinate something for the vets.
I want to go back to spayed and neutered for a minute. Is that required? If you get an animal that you foster, do you automatically have it spayed or neutered?
We do if they're old enough. We will adopt out kittens that are young. But if they're old enough, they need to get spayed and neutered before we can put them up for adoption.
You work with certain vets in the area then?
We do, and they give us a rescue discount, which does help. And they're very good about working with us and the animals. Very good.
So talk about your work with shelters, because the shelters obviously want to see their animals adopted out too.
Right.
How does that work? A
lot of times they'll contact us and say, hey, we've got this dog, that is, got some needs that we just can't afford. It's usually a special needs situation, right? That they just can't take on financially. And they know we can't take a lot of those, but we'll try to take our fair share. I'd say those are the most calls that we get from the shelters. And then we have to have somebody come out and assess the dog or they've done a behavioral assessment, which is also needed before we can take them on.
Is it the same as it is in child adoption, and that is everybody wants the baby, nobody wants the 14-year-old?
Older animals or, shelters are full of pit bulls, right? Sometimes it's you want to take, your gut tells you, oh, I want to take this animal because it would be really adoptable. But this one is a shelter favorite. He's got a great personality. He just has, X, Y, or Z wrong with him. And, but they're usually pretty honest with us about what they think that the dog, let's say, would need. And also their experience with the dog, because they don't want to have us go into a situation that we don't know what we're getting ourselves into, right? Behaviorally or medically.
And there's a liability.
And
there is a certain liability.
There is, that's right.
So when you are a foster parent for these animals, average length of stay of that animal in the home?
I would say for an adult animal, anywhere from 2 to 4 months on average. For the younger ones, for like kittens, it can be less than that.
Yeah, they go quickly.
They go quickly, yeah. And again, a lot of it depends on their veterinary needs and how soon we can get those things addressed, how soon we can get them in to be seen. Then they have to maybe come back and get a procedure done, and then that takes a couple of weeks. So a lot of it's just timing with veterinary offices and then giving them chance to recover too, right before we can put them up for adoption.
And so the best way for someone looking for an animal to give them a forever home is to go to petfinder.com.
Yeah.
Pick the animal and then contact you, or how does it work?
Yeah, we have a link to our animals that are on Pet Finder through our website, or you can just go to Pet Finder and put in certain criteria. You can filter it down to what you're looking for, or
Big
leave
dog,
it more
small
broad.
dog, yeah,
Right. And then there is a way to send an inquiry through Pet Finder, which comes into, if it's one of our animals, it'll come into our email. Same works for other rescues and shelters. They'll get that inquiry. Or if you see an animal that you're like, oh, I really want to apply to adopt this animal, then you go back to our glbas.org website and fill out an adoption application form.
Is there ever a time when you have enough foster?
Never. Never.
I knew that answer. I knew that answer.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen, huh?
Yeah, never. I mean, there's, sometimes usually a little lull around Christmas time or something like that. But especially here in the spring and the summer, there's just so much need. And, we're not the only rescue out there. There's a lot of other rescues out there doing a lot of good work, and it's still not enough.
Do you have a territory?
I'd say just the greater Tri-City area.
Okay. So general area. That's what I was after.
Yeah.
All right. One more break, and then we'll be back to finish up our conversation with Nicole Meyer from the Great Lakes Bay Animal Society. More ahead.
Rocket Grab Plus.
All right, we're back with you, talking to Nicole Meyer, the Vice President of the Great Lakes Bay Animal Society. Their Fast and Furriest run is, the 5K run is this Saturday. But it's a year-round need, and let's talk about donations and what kinds of things, not only money, but other things that you might need as an organization to do your job.
Well, we're always in need of donations of food, cat litter, things like scratching posts, even toys and treats. All of these things go directly to our foster families who are fostering our animals currently.
How many do you have roughly? How many animals right now are you have?
Oh
Do you
gosh,
guess? Round numbers.
I'd say at least 30.
It's a bunch.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good number.
Yep.
One of the other things you do, according to your website, is Dog Days of Summer.
Yes.
What is that?
It is at Immerman Park, and it is a couple of Wednesdays each summer where folks can bring their dogs down to the park and interact with other dogs. It's a very dog focused event.
Well, I would imagine.
Yeah, we're there just handing out usually some pup treats, and if we have any other giveaways, if there's information about our rescue, if people are interested. But we're always proud to be there.
Do you find that people that have dogs already, or cats for that matter, are willing to take on a second or third animal?
Absolutely. I would say the bulk of our adopters already have at least one pet in the house.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So is there a trial period to see if those pets get along? I mean, how do they work that?
Yeah, it certainly, occasionally it happens where even with the best of trying to introduce them slowly and things like that, that it just doesn't work out. And in those cases, we will take the animal back. But the majority of times it works out well. We just have to really educate these families on how to introduce their pets, because their pet doesn't really want change a lot of times. So,
Owns the house.
yeah, that's right. And I get that. So, you have to start them off in a different room, and then, you have to, move their food close to each other so they're eating on each side of the door and they get used to each other, and very slowly sometimes introduce.
There is a technique to it, isn't there?
There is. And if, that's usually the number one thing that we ask if people do say, oh, it's just not working out. It's like, well, what steps did you take to introduce them? Did you do what we said?
Is it easier to pair a dog into a house or a cat?
I would say probably a dog, but, a lot of people that have, I would say for the folks that are adding another cat, a lot of times they already have one or more cats, but one of their cats is young and has a lot of energy, and they want to get a playmate for that cat. And in those cases, it works out almost 100% of the time, because, that cat is just, dying for a playmate. And once they find that playmate gets added to their home, they're usually pretty happy.
That's a nice thing.
Yeah.
All right. So, again, tell everybody about registration for the Fast and Furious race coming up this Saturday.
Yeah. So the registration link for we register for the race through a site called Run Sign Up. So the link to that is on our website at glbas.org, for Great Lakes Bay Animal Society.org. Also, you can find the information on our Facebook page. We're posting every single day. You can't miss it, in regards to both the race as well as the silent auction, on both.
All of that is there.
It is.
And if you want to be a foster parent to a pup or a kitten, what do you do?
Go to our website, again, at glbas.org, and there's a section that says Make a Difference. And when you click on that, there's a section about fostering. And if you scroll down, there's an online application, which is the place to start. We'll get that application. We'll contact you. And usually we end up coming out to the home just to make sure everything is as it says it is. And then there's a final foster agreement that they sign. And after that, you're official and can start taking animals.
And roughly how long does all that take?
It can be just a matter of days to get the whole process done.
All right. Well, Nicole, thank you for telling us about the Great Lakes Bay Animal Society and stopping by. And good luck with the big race this Saturday.
Thank you, Art. Thank you for having us.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Thanks a lot. Nicole Meyer, she is the Vice President of the Great Lakes Bay Animal Society. Again, their website is glbas.org. And on that site, you'll find all about the organization. You'll find their events, ways to give and what they need, and how you can make a difference. So look them up, and they'll be glad you did. We'll take our last break this hour. Be back to close out. All right, that'll do it for the Art Lewis Show for today. Thanks